Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Alicia Lynn Diaz. I'm so happy to be here with you. And let's dive right into this week's question. So, Jody Ann wrote, the one thing I cannot get a clear inner answer on is what foods will heal my gut. Specifically, I started taking powdered bone broth and I look at it thinking it's processed, it's not natural. I tried soaking mung beans and I suffered after. I love eating healthy, pure foods, but I need variety. What can you teach us of your experience with gut issues that hasn't already been advertised? Help! Thank you. Thank you, Jody Ann, for writing in. I chose your question because so many of you actually asked about specific gut healing questions. And this is a big one because there's a lot of incredible information out there around gut healing, but you probably see one facet of this gem that is the whole picture of gut healing. And so I want to shed light on 3 ancient Ayurvedic principles that can actually revolutionize the way that you approach your food and your gut healing protocols so that you can experience less bloating, less gas, less discomfort, less diarrhea, constipation, less indigestion and pain. And overall, with leaky gut, or what's called leaky gut in the functional medicine world, less of those irritants and antibodies and things that get into your bloodstream because the gut isn't digesting properly. So then your blood ends up absorbing these bigger molecules, and then they create tissue damage and all kinds of different autoimmune conditions and irritation in the system and inflammation in the system. So this is a really, really important topic. So let's dive right in. So there are 3 things that I want to give you an overview of today, and they are timing, presence, and quality of the foods that you eat. So timing. One thing that is often I don't hear talked about very much is the timing of foods. There's a myth in the health industry, in the holistic health industry, in the fitness industry, that you should eat every 2 hours and keep your blood sugar stable and all of this and that. But I want you to imagine, and I wish I drew this out. I can draw this out for you. So imagine that there are 3 major phases to your digestion. So phase 1 is the stomach, is when you eat, it's actually your mouth and your stomach. So we'll say mouth. This is you eating food. This is the little smiley face, and it goes into your stomach because digestion starts in your mouth first and foremost. So you want to make sure you're chewing well and not overloading the stomach so that you're breaking down the food into smaller particles, mixing it with saliva, and starting to allow the enzymes to break down your food. Then it's going to go into your stomach. So this is phase 1, and this takes about 2 hours to complete digestion in the stomach. After there's digestion in the stomach, the food goes into your small intestine. So this is your small intestine, and this also takes another 2 hours. So we want to make sure that the food bolus here is fully liquefied and broken down as much as possible before it enters into the small intestine. So that way there's micronutrients that can now be absorbed through all the microvilli, and that you're not getting those big particles going into your bloodstream. And then that takes about 2 hours. And then the final phase, I'm kind of drawing backwards here. The final phase is in the colon. And the colon also takes about 2 hours to absorb minerals and the fluids out of the food and bring that into your bloodstream, and it starts to pack the waste into the distal part of the colon. So each of these phases takes 2 hours each. This is about 6 hours total. Now, what happens if you eat every 2 hours. Well, now I want you to imagine that your digestive fire is like a pie graph. So, right, like this is 100% of your digestive fire. In Ayurveda and traditional Eastern medicine, we break down the aspects of the body into 5 elements. So when I say fire, I'm talking about the digestive fire, the gut fire, the metabolism. We're going to talk about fire more in detail, but imagine that you have a finite amount of fire in your body. And if you want all of that fire to go to each phase, and if you eat 2 hours later, so sometimes there's a false hunger cue. Once the food passes through this valve into the small intestine, you might get a false hunger cue because psychologically as a society, we are programmed to constantly fill our mind, our space, to constantly feel full. So when your stomach's not feeling full and there's almost a fear of that emptiness. So there's a false hunger cue that can happen when the food goes in here. So now your food is traveling along the small intestine and you eat again. If you eat anything again, now you are breaking your digestive fire in half and it needs to split its fire between the two. Now, what happens if you're having if your gut is compromised? This whole fire is smaller to begin with. So now you're putting a smaller piece of the pie here and a smaller piece of the pie here. And so on and so on. So if you're eating every couple hours, you're splitting the focus and the presence. So that's where number 2 comes in, presence. Now, the interesting thing here is that you're not only splitting your digestive capacity physically between different parts of your digestion. Your digestive fire is not only digesting physical food, it is digesting your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, all the stuff that happened in the past, as well as every bit of sensory input that is coming in through your 5 senses right now. Smell, taste, touch, sight, sound. So where presence comes in is that you want to bring all of your energy, all of your focus into your meals as well. Because if you are playing on Facebook, on your phone, listening to music, watching TV, all while you're eating, your digestive capacity is scattered. And this already compromised digestive fire, small fire, ends up getting split and split and split because some of it's going to emotion, some of it's going to sound, some of it's going to light and what you see, and some of it's going to... So, right, like now you're just depleting your body's ability to digest, and maybe you have this tiny little bit of energy in your system left to then digest fully. So this is a really, really important concept. Okay, number 3, quality. This is one that I see very, very often overlooked. So it's not just about what foods do I eat to heal my gut. There are tons of lists out there and, eat this, not that, restrict this, favor that. And I know that it can feel really overwhelming and just frustrating. And there's so much conflicting advice out there. So I get that you watching this video are probably in a similar place of like, where do I go for what? Because this person tells me this and I should do the candida cleanse. If I'm having these symptoms, it might be candida. And so I should do this and, all these different things. And I just want to help you take a deep breath in this moment and pull all your energy back to yourself. Because I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but first of all, I just want to remind you that the only person that knows your body is truly you. No one knows your body better than you. So all the practitioners and the experts and the advice out there, including my own, should come to you as signposts on your journey. Read the signposts, but ultimately it is you that determines the overall direction that you are going and the cohesiveness and the leadership that you're bringing to your body, leadership of your cells. So this is a really, really important concept in the Enlightened Body System, the 90-day program that I've created that our community has gone through to help self-heal their digestive imbalances and other imbalances in their body, and to reclaim their healing power in their life and in their health, and to experience freedom in their body, freedom in their emotion, and just like really get fully unshakable confidence in who they really are, in their wholeness, in their fullness, in their vitality, and in their energy. And so that's a primary concept. And to be honest, this is actually something I didn't even plan on talking about today, but your inner leadership, you're the leader of your cells in your body. And your inner leadership determines the gut health, determines the gut fire, determines the height of the flame and how powerfully that flame burns, and where it is centralized in your body, like centralized in the gut where it needs to be, or if it's decentralized and dispersed, displaced into other aspects of your body, causing inflammation and heat and headaches and all kinds of other symptoms of heat, autoimmune conditions. That's when the fire is displaced out of its central channel where it should be, in thriving here in the gut. And you have lots of different centers of this. You also have it down to the cellular center of the gut fire inside of every single cell. It's your metabolism and it's the intelligence inside of each and every cell. So this is very, very, very important. And this actually isn't fully a tangent. It's more of a segue from the presence, bringing the full presence practice, because we're not leading our bodies when we're allowing our focus and our energy to be scattered everywhere. We're leading our bodies when we're bringing full presence to what our body needs, to nourishing our body, to listen to the wisdom of the body, to deeply listen, to learn how to listen. And when there's imbalance in the body, the information that's shared, what can seem like intuition, actually the signals get scrambled, because there's cravings that are either perverted or off, and there are cravings that are on, that are spot on, that are aligned, and that are intelligent. So you learning how to listen and answer properly to those the wisdom and the whispers and the insight of your body is actually the missing piece and the missing tool to healing the gut. This is, there's a really important quality of that that I can't emphasize enough. And, some of the things, the last thing in the topic of segueing from presence into quality, the 3 things, and I'll recap them for you in a moment as we wrap up here. But the quality of foods makes a difference. So it's not just the food list. It's not just the eat this vegetable or don't eat grains or whatever the case is. There's a spectrum of every food that some are more helpful than others. And so in general, without going into great detail, I want to offer you this one framework of understanding that things that irritate the gut are foods that have the qualities of dryness, cold, rough, crunchy, and raw. So you do want to reduce, so say like a piece of broccoli, right? A piece of broccoli can be raw and crunchy and cold, or it can be warm and moist and cooked with a little bit of healthy oil and some warm spices like turmeric, and that's a very different quality. So same food, different quality. So I want you to start thinking about approaching some of your foods from the perspective of, is this dry? Is this raw and cold and potentially irritating to my gut, rough And if so, if you're eating raw nuts, if you're eating raw salads, if you're eating raw foods, and if you're eating complex, that's the last one, complex. If you're throwing everything into the blender to make a smoothie, hey, at least it's smooth, right? But if there's food combinations in there, or if it's really complex, your body still has to know what to do with that. So you want to favor these things. So you want to favor what is smooth and soft and cooked and warm and well spiced and just very simple. So one of the simplest things you could do is put your veggies in a pot of water with some warm spices, like some yummy spices of your liking, and cook everything together and make a broth and eat like one pot meals, because that just makes things really, really simple. And you can put your proteins in there, but favor like soups and stews and just simple kind of one pot meals that kind of ends up taking into consideration all the things that I just shared, and it will help give your gut a break. Okay, how are you guys doing? Let's recap really fast and then wrap up for today. So first thing, you want to space your meals apart 4 to 6 hours. 4 to 6 hours, it takes 4 to 6 hours for the full journey of when you eat until the food goes all the way through your stomach, small intestine, and into the distal part of your colon. So it takes 4 to 6 hours. So you want to fully give your body permission to put all of its digestive capacity there. Number 2, you want to cut distractions and bring your full presence to your meals. Turn off the music, turn off the TV, turn the phone off. Breathe between every single bite. Eat a bite, chew it thoroughly, liquefy it in your mouth, swallow it, put the fork down, and breathe. Full presence. Bring all your energy here. Imagine that there's a fire in your belly and that it is supporting your digestion. And then number 3, favor foods that are warm and cooked and simple and smooth. And, if you have cravings in between meals, and there's all kinds of other things that we can go into in these Wellness Wednesdays, but ask me more questions. I'll check the chat box right now to see if there's any pressing questions. Otherwise, if there's complex questions in the chat box right now, I will address those in later videos. So much love to you, and here's to a thriving, healed, and whole gut. All right, let's check the questions. Oh, Sue, you're amazing. She's just recapping all of my notes. You're awesome. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everyone. And I welcome your questions. If you're watching this as a recording, put some comments below the video. Ask me more questions. We can go deeper into this, and we can start really creating some momentum with our Wellness Wednesdays. All right, lots of love. And if you haven't already subscribed for my email updates, I send recap videos and notes of these teachings, as well as other teachings and things that I only share via email. And if you're in the Facebook group, continue engaging with each other. And yeah, we are all in this together. Whatever is going on in your body is not yours to bear alone. It's not yours to figure out on your own. And we are in this conversation so that you can heal yourself even more deeply, and therefore be a light that illuminates the path for others to help make an even bigger difference in the world. So if you share in that vision, then I'm really happy you're here, and sending you lots of love. And we will talk next week, or talk very soon in the group. Okay, you're welcome, Jody Ann. Thank you for your comments. Blessings.